sometimes you'll want to see what your remaining loan balance is after a certain amount of years. To determine the remaining loan balance, first you find the loan payment. So remember that to do that, we use that payment formula, equals PMT, parentheses, R over N, comma, N times T, comma, PV, which is the loan amount, comma, 0 for FV because we want it at the end to be $0. Calculate the remaining, so step 2 is to calculate the remaining loan balance based on the remaining time on the loan term. So to do that, we use the equal PV formula. So let's look at an example. Patricia bought a new car and took out a $21,000 loan. After 3 years, she plans to sell the car and look for a new one. If her loan term was 5 years at 5.25% APR, what will the loan balance be after 3 years of payment? So step 1, the first thing we need to do is figure out what her loan payment is. So to do that, we'll use the equals PMT formula. So our interest rate, so it's 5.25%, writing that as a decimal, moving that decimal spot over to the left, gives 0.0525 divided by N, which we'll be using as 12 because she'll be doing monthly payments. And then comma N, so 12 times a year, times the number of years. So in this case, we're looking for her total loan. So it was her loan term was 5 years when they created this payment. So we use 5 years for this. Although we're looking at what her loan balance is after 3 years, to figure out what her payment is initially going to be, we have to use the regular loan term. The loan amount was for $21,000. And we want the future value of the loan to be fully paid off, so we want that to be 0. So when we do that, we get about $398.71. So when she initially took out the loan for 5 years at 5.25% APR, she has a payment of $398.71. If we wanted to figure out what the loan balance is after 3 years of payments, we'll use the PV formula. So that's the present value because we're wanting to figure out what's the present value of the loan after 3 years. So again, to use that formula, it's the rate, so 0.0525 divided by N, which is 12 because she's going to be making monthly payments, comma 12 times, so in this case, we're looking at your T, and that's the thing that's kind of tricky, is the remaining years. So we have 2 years left. After 3 years of payments, there's 2 years that will be left on the loan. So I'm trying to figure out for those last 2 years, what will I owe? And then our payment value is $398.71. And then again, we type in 0. So this ends up giving us a value of $9,065. So this is the remaining balance she has left for those last 2 years. So after 3 years of payments, her remaining balance is $9,065. So again, the tricky thing with this formula is just remembering that when you type in that T value is the remaining years left on the loan. So we're not putting in the 3 years. We're looking at, okay, so if she's paid for 3 years and it's a 5-year loan, that means she has 2 years left on the loan. So that's the big thing to make sure you're paying attention to when you're using this formula. Let's do a couple more, or one more example over this. Example, remaining loan balance. Emil bought a car for $24,000 3 years ago. The loan had a 5-year term at 3% interest rate. How much does he still owe on the loan? Okay, so to figure this out, we will do equals PMT. We first need to, the step 1 is to figure out the payment. So 3% as a decimal is 0.03. Because again, if we've got this 3 point, moving that decimal point over 2 to the left leaves us with 0.03. Divided by 12, because he'll be doing monthly payments. You're always going to assume it's monthly payments unless it's stated otherwise. So again, just always assume it's monthly payments unless it's stated otherwise. 12 times 5, because this loan was for 5 years, and then 24,000. Oops, and we don't want to put a comma in there for Excel, and then 0. So when you do that, you end up finding that his initial payment when they set up this for a 5-year loan, so that's what we use 5 for T, his payment is going to be $431.25. So that's his payment amount. Now to figure out what he has left on the loan, we're going to use that equals PV formula. So 0.03 divided by 12, comma, 12 times, now in this case, the time is the time remaining. So he has a 5-year loan, and it looks like he got it 3 years ago. So he got it 3 years ago, so that means he has 2 years remaining. So that's what we'll use there. And then we put in the payment, which is $431.25, comma 0, and you'll end up getting about $10,033.45. So this is the amount that he has left to pay. Ebony bought a house 15 years ago, taking out a $250,000 mortgage at 4% for 30 years. How much does she still owe on the mortgage? Okay, so let's first figure out what her monthly payment would be. So equals PMT. So interest is 4%, so 0.04 divided by 12, because again, we're always going to assume that there's monthly payments unless stated otherwise. 12 times the number of years, so her mortgage was set up for 30 years, so it was a 30-year mortgage. And then the total amount was $250,000. And then we'll put in 0. And we get her mortgage is going to be $1,193.54. So her mortgage on a $250,000 house is $1,193.54. To figure out what she still owes after 15 years of payments, we use that PV formula. So it's going to be 0.04 divided by 12. 12 times, so now the number of years, so she's paid for 15 years on a 30-year loan. So that means she has 15 years left. And then again, her payments are $1,193.54. And so this ends up giving about $161,357.24. So hopefully you can see here, I know rent is so high in Oregon right now that sometimes thinking about buying a house, well, you'll end up paying less a month than you're paying in rent. So definitely see if you have the credit and all of that, see if it's something that's a possibility in the future for you.